Hi kiddos, today we're going to be talking about some place value problems. So we're going to first start with the number 4. And we're going to think, okay, what is 4 times 10? 4 times 10, and we're going to focus on times 10s right now. Woo, times 10. So 4 times 10 gives us 40. Well, now what's 40 times 10? 40 times 10 is going to give us 400. What is 400 times 10? 400 times 10 is going to give us 4,000. So I want you to look at these numbers and I want you to see some patterns that they have. Go ahead and look at them and think about some patterns. A lot of students will say that we added a 0 each time. And then a lot of other people notice that each time the place value is moving over. So that's an important thing to remember when we are multiplying by 10 is, yes, we're adding a 0, but we're moving the place value. So we're moving the place value over. And we're actually moving the place value to the left. So now we're going to look at what happens when we divide by 10. So if we multiply by 10, we're moving the place value to the left. What happens when we divide by 10? So we're going to start with our 4,000. And we're going to divide by 10. Well, if we take 4,000 divided by 10, we get 400. If we take 400 and we divide by 10, we get 40. If we take 40 and divide by 10, we get 4. So what's going to happen when I take 4 and I divide by 10? Look at the patterns that we have so far. What's going to happen if I take 4 divided by 10? So if we keep following the same pattern that we've already started, we can see that the 4 is moving over one place value also, but it's moving now to the right instead of moving to the left. So our 4 is going to then go to the tens place. So now we have our 4/10. Another thing to remember is if we remember that fractions are division, 4 divided by 10 is the same thing as 4/10, which gives us 4/10. So now we're going to look at some values that have decimal values in them also and just practice with this multiplying and dividing by 10s. So if I have 15, so now two numbers together, and I'm dividing by 10, what do you think that is going to give me? Remember, dividing by 10, we're now moving the place value to the right one place. So if we move the 15 to the right, we're going to keep the 15 together, but it's all going to move to the right one place value. Because it's 15 divided by 10, which is equal to 1 and 5/10. So what's going to happen to our 1 and 5/10 if we divide that by 10? It's going to be the same thing. We're dividing by 10. We're going to move it over one place value to the right. So we move every digit over one place value to the right. So now we have 1500s. If we take 1500s, divide by 10, it's still going to be the same thing. We're going to take all the numbers and we're going to move them over one place value to the right. To get 15,000s now. Now let's look at some other numbers with multiplying or dividing by 10. So I'm going to take 2 and 3100ths and I'm going to times it by 10. So I'm starting with my 2 and 3100ths and I'm multiplying it by 10. So I'm going to move one place value over to the left. So now I'm going to have 23 and 1/10. If I take my 2 and 31/100 and I divide by 10, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to move one place value over to the right. So we'd have 231 thousandths, and we can put a 0 right there. If I have a number that has a 0 already in it, let's say I have 7 and 3/100, and I'm going to multiply that by 10. So I'm going to start with my 7 and 3/100, and since I'm multiplying by 10, that means all of them are getting moved over a place value. So I move every number, even the zeros, because the zeros are the placeholder to keep the distance between them. So now I have 70 and 3/10. What if I have 7 and 3/100 times 100? Well, 100 is just 10 times 10. So all that I need to do is I need to move my 7 and 3/100 times 10 one time, and then times 10 again, to get a grand total of 703.